Greetings. Back with another episode. Spur of the moment. Was on YouTube doing some surfing and came across some inspiring information that I want to kind of share with the youngsters and the youth. Because like a lot of these YouTubers, that put out information, like they are elders, and I respect them. I mean, I'm not knocking them. I respect them, but they're elders, and a lot of the crowds and people that listen to them are, people that are a little bit more sophisticated in the New Age movement and the spirituality movement, or the so-called conspiracy movement, if you want to call it that, the truther movement. That's what some people call it. But these people are a little bit more experienced in that thing there, so they've been doing it, a little longer. So a lot of times, some of the information may go over people's heads, and some of the information, isn't broken down a lot of times, like so that one can digest it and get all the nutrients and vitamins involved in it. But they still do a good job, for people like myself and people that maybe a little bit more seasoned and understand these things. It's really good information, man. Like really good information, actually. But I just want to kind of like relay it, and kind of I guess bring a little bit more of my research into this particular topic. But this is kind of like a newer topic that's been circulating in the communities, and it's dealing with this secret plan that the Vatican has constructed and concocted to introduce and to make known extraterrestrials to the common layman or lay woman, to the common man or the common woman. This is what they're doing, and they're calling it. Actually, this video is inspired by another video that's called the Satanic Vatican Plan to Disclose the alien God, something to that nature. You can possibly Google it, or YouTube search it, and it may come up. I don't even remember the channel that I was watching, but I know it was good stuff. At some point, maybe I'll find it again and hit the like button on my channel. I'll go ahead and pull it up in my feed, hopefully before this video comes out or maybe after, and you guys can watch it too, and kind of digest it. But I definitely want to cite that as a source because, the information was good, and even though, the information was, came from a Christian perspective, but you got to remember that not all Christians are totally lost. I mean, there's Christians out there that know the truth and they know the real deal, and they bringing it full-fledged. So, I listen to everybody, man. I'm a person, I can get knowledge and wisdom from anybody, and I'm open. Like I don't close the door on anybody. Like I'll listen to you if you look like some thug off the street, and I'll listen to you if you were a priest dressed in all black, with a garment or a priest garment on. Like I would still listen to you because that's just the type of person that I am. But without further delay, let me go ahead and get into some of the facts, first of all, of what's going on. Now, they're saying that, according to this video, they're saying that the Vatican has took control of Mount Graham, which is located in, I think, in southwest Arizona. And Mount Graham was actually, before the Vatican took this over, this was actually a sacred mountain, similar to Mount Sinai in the Bible or something like that. And this was like a mountain that the Apache tribe, the Native American tribe in that area, believed that was a portal or a gateway to other worlds. And according to this video, the Vatican is basically saying that they want to reconstruct or to reconnect this portal with Earth so that they can bring in extraterrestrial life via, whether it's from heaven or hell, which is a whole nother topic, because heaven is one thing and hell is another thing, and it's not what you think it is. According to the Bible, it's not what you think it is. You don't have to die to go to heaven or hell, believe it or not. But I'll leave that for another video. But they want to connect with heaven or hell, and they want to use this as a launching pad, as a portal. Now, those of you that are kind of familiar with the Bible, you may be familiar with this story, and they cover this in the video as well. So I'm just kind of reiterating the video, and then I'm going to kind of go into a little bit of extra after I kind of like relay what the video was talking about. So those of you that are familiar with the Bible know that there's a story called the Tower of Babel. Very key in understanding this video. And in the Tower of Babel, this was, when you translate the term Babel, it's supposed to mean, they tell you in the in the biblical text that it means house of God. But this is not what Babel means. Babel actually means gateway. Bab means gateway, and El is supposed to mean deity or source. So the Tower of Babel was a gateway to what they call El at that time, which was, El was the highest deity, which you may call God. But this may get a little bit dark here. We got to get black tonight. So, I mean, if you ain't ready to get black, then get back, because we finna get a little bit dark. For people that may be a little bit religious, this may be a little bit too much. But and then there's open-minded people out there. So I'm not trying to project any negative. There are people out here that are ready for this. So I'm not projecting anything, but I'm just putting up a disclaimer. So it's only 6 minutes in right now. So you can go ahead and shut down if this is too much. You got free will. So anyway, back to the point. Babel, this is a gateway to this deity of what you may call God or El. They called him El back then. This is the Hebrew. One of the Hebrew names for God is actually Ilion El. Some people say Ilion El. And Ilion El means this was the most high El. And you remember Nimrod didn't want them to build the Tower of Babel. Because remember, at that time, Nimrod was building the tower. I had to go back to my biblical information. Nimrod wanted to build a Tower of Babel at that time, and the God of that time stopped him. He was like, let us go down there and stop them from doing this, because if they build this tower, then there will be nothing that they can't achieve. The first thing you got to ask yourself is why did God want to stop them from building a tower to him? If you guys know about the Tower of Babel, this is like an incomplete structure that's supposed to be somewhere in the Middle East, but that's fake, actually. That's something that they constructed to make you think that that's what the story was talking about, but it's not talking about that. Tower of Babel is actually a launching pad or a portal that Nimrod chose a sacred geometrical point on the earth, and he decided that he was going to build a launching pad or a portal so that he could connect and bring extraterrestrial life in and out of this portal. Because Nimrod, he's the bad guy, he's the villain, and he has to be covered. They didn't cover Nimrod in the video, so this is kind of me going into Nimrod. Nimrod was a bad guy and a villain to God, because of the fact that he broke the spell and he knew that God was really an extraterrestrial. That's right, God is an extraterrestrial, and I'm going to give you proof out of your Bible to prove this in a minute. So he knew this, and his thing was that he didn't want humanity to be conquered by these extraterrestrials, because he got hit to the game and he knew, like, you guys are worshiping, paying homage to these extraterrestrial gods or whatever. So Nimrod, he broke the spell, and he had people kind of worshipped him. He was revered. He was a man of renown. He had a group of people that he led to wanting to build a launching pad to go deal with these extraterrestrials directly. He wanted to usurp the hierarchy or the structure and go directly to the extraterrestrials himself. So you kind of can look at it like this in modern terms. Let me explain this to you. So he was kind of like, say for instance, he was just like some guy off the street or some dude off the street, right? That a lot of people he had street fame, right? And a lot of people looked up to Nimrod, right? So, but he was just a regular guy that had no titles. He wasn't a mayor, he wasn't a congressman or anything like that. But he wanted to usurp the mayors, the presidents, the congress people, the preachers, the imams, the popes, and he wanted to go directly to this deity, because he knew that it was extraterrestrial, and that he knew that these, all the king's horses and all the king's men type of thing was blocking information and knowledge about the real truth. And he was like, I want to go deal with this guy directly, but he never really got a chance to do that, according to the Bible, because God destroyed humanity at that time. Because remember, God said, "Let us stop them from doing this, because if they do this, it wouldn't be nothing that they could or couldn't do." And you got to ask yourself, that's why is God making a decision to stop people from communicating with him or her? Because this was not the God that you may think of, the all-wise, the all-compassionate, the all-beneficent God. This is an extraterrestrial God that has intellect, has an ego, kills, destroys, hurts people, rapes people. Yeah, that came to this earth. It's all in your Bible. Pillaged the earth, conquered the earth, put people up under this spell with this knowledge and information that they didn't have. We were just like animals. And actually, even beyond put people up under a spell, created humanity as slaves. Let's go to the next level. Created Adam, or the blood. Damn, like when you say damn. The root word of Adam is damn. Like you say, damn you. That's blood. That means blood. Damn you, or Damu. Shout out to all them bloods out there, Damu. And that means blood. Literally, though, according to Sumerian. These are the words that the language, one of the first original languages that this Most High Elion El brought to the planet. So he created this Adam from the earth, or the blood of the ground, and constructed him and made him to work the mines in the fields and things of that nature. And I'm not going to go into that story about how man was created, because it's kind of going off track, but you do got to kind of understand these things to kind of get into the meat of this video, so you won't just be totally lost. But like, you have to know how I think. Doesn't have to be how you think. This is how I think. Like, this is what I believe. Doesn't mean it's 100% fact, and it doesn't have to be 100% fact for you, but this is based off my research. I mean, I'm open to people wanting to converse about these things. If you disagree, show me proof about what I'm saying is not facts. I'm open to talk to you in a public format if that's what you want to do. I'm open to that. I'm on Twitter at MasterRomHotep. Tweet me like, yo, I want to build on this, whatever. We can do that. We can definitely do that. But I know what I'm saying is, I've researched the scriptures from the original languages. I had a really good teacher. We call him the master teacher, to taught me these things. And, a lot of it can't be disputed and debated once you understand the language. It's all about the words. So humans are slaves, like they were created as slaves, Adam and Eve. Even in Islam, they say that man is a slave of Allah. So they tell you straight up in Islam, they say that you're a slave. Literally. That's one of the attributes of man, slave of Allah. Abdullah. Abdul means slave. So they tell you straight up, like, we were slaves, we were working the mines or whatever. That's what we did in the Garden of Eden. God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. And we were given dominion, which means that we were given a certain area that we could rule in and work in, and we had to pillage. But they don't tell you the whole rest of the story. But it's kind of in there, but you got to look for it. But if you notice on one part of the scriptures, God he's mining gold. And he's talking about, this is good gold and this is bad gold. Why is God concerned with what's good gold and bad gold? He said, this is good gold and this is bad gold. See, that's the part of the Bible that, because the Bible has been corrupted and translated so many times, but it's still pieces of it in there that go back to the original story. But that's one of the parts of the Bible that they couldn't leave out the truth. And the truth of the matter is that the Anunnaki came to this planet looking for gold, and these gods, or these extraterrestrial gods, that's what they came to the planet for. They were looking for wealth to save their atmosphere, which was on the verge of meltdown. Thousands of years ago, this took place, and they needed gold, and they needed to mine this gold so that they can patch up their atmosphere. And they turned this gold. Gold can be transformed. And so, you got monatomic gold, you got different forms of gold, but they were going to form this gold into a substance that could help to build a dome or a golden dome so they could protect themselves from the rays of the sun that was melting down their environment at the time. So this is how man came about, and we were created in these extraterrestrials' image and likeness. If you study the pyramids and the walls on the pyramids, you see UFOs all over the pyramids. Thousands of years ago, they knew these things. So it's not stuff that I'm making up. This can be researched. You see helicopters on the pyramids. You see vehicles of transportation on the pyramids. So we think that we the first people. The car came out back in 1913 or whatever year, 1910, whatever year the car was made. We think that that's when the car was made, not even knowing that nothing's new up under the sun. It even says that in the Bible. Nothing's new up under the sun. All this technology and everything that we have has just been reproduced and reduplicated. And when they get tired, it's just like they talked about in the Matrix. When Neo went to go see the architect, I know this is a lot, but this is how I teach. This is conversation. But when Neo went to go see the architect in the Matrix, the architect said, "We've tried this 6 different times before you, and each time the one fails." What did he mean by that? He was talking about the same stories. See, they wiped us out. Man, you're not the first man, the first woman. This isn't the first time people believed in somebody like Jesus. They tried this so many times in different civilizations. And each time, humanity sails out to the extraterrestrials and gives over their planet right back to these malefic extraterrestrials, and they fail the test. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So you got the secret plan of the Vatican, which is really they're confusing people because they're saying that they're going to reveal, it's going to be full disclosure, and they're putting out all this information saying that if aliens were proved to, if there was ever proof that aliens existed, it wouldn't shake the faith of the church. But they're preparing you for the fact that, and this is stuff that you can Google online and look up, by the way, but they're preparing you for the fact that the knowledge of extraterrestrials will be made public. And it will be before the end of this year, according to this video that I'm talking about. Because according to this video that I'm talking about, they're saying that these popes secretly were having these meetings. You got different, you got Pope Francis, but then you got other popes and things like that. Secret popes and black popes that are affiliated with Pope Francis, and they've been talking about how essentially they have to, according to these extraterrestrials that they serve, because they serve them, they have to make this stuff known, because humanity now has to vote and make a choice of what man and woman is going to do. Who are you going to choose now that you know the extraterrestrials are walking the earth? Why do you think these movies keep coming out about these extraterrestrials? So essentially what the Pope is going to do is that this Mount Graham area, which is in Arizona, they want to bring extraterrestrials. This is a secret operation, a black ops operation, but it can be looked up easily by just Googling it. But they're going to make sure that humanity knows, in and out, the extraterrestrials exist. You must know these things, and they want to try to bring some extraterrestrial life to this planet or something. They're saying to where they're trying to sugarcoat it. That's why I'm calling it the secret plan that the Vatican has, because they're not telling you the whole truth. See, the real truth is that they've already made ties with extraterrestrials. Let me just go ahead and get to the gist of this video. You've watched it long enough, so it's time for me to go ahead and bring the meat. They already know that extraterrestrials exist. They've been working with extraterrestrials since the beginning and the origins of the Catholic Church. Each pope, whether it's the Jesuit pope or the pope that you see in public, the black pope or what they call the white pope. The black pope is the secret pope, and then the white pope is the one that's made public. Whether it's the one that wears white or the one that wears black, and they say that the one that's wearing white right now, Pope Francis, used to be a Jesuit, or he was the secret pope at one time, or I don't know. I'm not deep into the politics of the church. I don't know his history. I just know what I know about the ancient texts and about metaphysics and about my knowledge of what I study. My family is actually Catholic, so I know a little bit about, the Catholic Church. Little bit, though, because I was never a Catholic. But, my mother and my aunts and them, and they were all, they grew up Catholic. And what I know is that they've always had pacts with extraterrestrials. See, back in the day, it just was a secret. Because of course they're not going to tell you back then. But now, see, this is the day when all things will be revealed. These are what you call the last days. This is what you call the day of judgment. And in the day of judgment, man will be made to see and will be allowed to choose and will be allowed to discern based off having a full, complete knowledge of how the world works. And this is the day that we live in. And they know that man has to be offered the blue or red pill. That's essentially what it is, like in the Matrix. Man and woman have to be offered the blue and red pill so that they can decide what they're going to do. They have to know the truth about God. And the truth about God is that, and this may sound harsh, that there is no God coming back the way you imagined it to save the world. You say, man, that's messed up. I mean, the thing is, even Jesus, you say, well, Jesus coming back. Jesus was an extraterrestrial mixed with a human. You say he was born through an immaculate conception. This is a story that really talks about Jesus being created in somewhat of a laboratory type of experiment. There's a story called Nergal and Rishkigal. And the story of Nergal and Rishkigal talks about the making of man. They took part in the experiment, the making of man, and this is talking about the making of Jesus. There's a story called Tammuz. Tammuz was part human, and his father was a god. We research Tammuz. This is in the Sumerian text. And the story of Jesus, everything about the story of Jesus comes from Tammuz. Tammuz. And Tammuz, this story was created way before the story of Jesus. Like, you know, this the one that you read about. But they have so many different similarities. There's a book that you can get, I think it's called, I forgot the number, but I think it's like the 16 Crucified Saviors or something like that. I believe that's the number. You can Google it and it should come up, the correct name. I've read this stuff a long time ago, so you have for me to tap back into knowledge that I had gained a while ago, and some of it, you know, I have to go back into my memory bank. So just bear with me. But it's 16 different saviors that, you know, that have similarities to the Jesus story. You know, you got the story of Shiva, which you know has a bit of a similarity to Jesus. The story of Horus. I mean, the list goes on. You got Native American stories that are similar to the Jesus story, but are much older. So you got all these stories that are similar to the Jesus story. So these are things that you must know. Like, these are just basic metaphysical, to me, concepts that people that are conscious should know. So Jesus ain't coming back because, I mean, the whole story about Jesus, he was a part of the extraterrestrial. He had the extraterrestrial blood in him already, so he was already part, like a hybrid, is what you would call him. He was already a hybrid. So there was nothing, or is nothing, that he would even do, because he's not going to go against his family. That's his father's side. Because like in the story of Tammuz, his father, like I said, was an extraterrestrial that came to this planet and mixed in with a humanoid woman. And that's why you say Jesus' father, or some people say it was angel. Michael the angel, archangel, was Jesus' father, and Mary was the mother. Some people say that, but then, you know, that's the Christians that at least admit that Jesus was born via parents. But then you got others that say he was just an immaculate conception and Mary just popped up pregnant and had a child, but really in reality she was implanted with, she took part in the experiment, she was implanted with the child by extraterrestrials during that time, and that's how Jesus was created, and that's why he had all these special powers and things of that nature. So you got people like that, or beings like that, walking the earth today, and the gist of the video basically, essentially, is to tell you about the decision that you're going to have to make. Because remember I said we're in the day of judgment, the day of, some people call it the day of reckoning. And in this day of reckoning, and in this day of judgment, man and woman will have to decide and choose what they're going to do. So you got two sides. You got two extraterrestrial groups right now. And this is what they're not going to say. This wasn't in the video. This is you know, what I know about the extraterrestrials that the Vatican deals with. If they say they're going to bring extraterrestrials to this planet, these are the demons that they've been dealing with, which is the Orion group. These are the same reptilians that they've been dealing with, reptilians that created these things. It's a dinosaur right here. There's a movie coming out called Jurassic World. Why is it coming out this year, out of all years? Because it ties in with the reptilians. See, the dinosaurs were reptilian creation, created on the planet Orion, transported here, and it's a reason why they created them, because they destroyed civilization during that time, so that they can create this new type of slave type civilization. So they sent they sucked the dinosaurs on them, just like you sick a dog on somebody. So you got these reptilians, they call them demons in the Catholic Church, and then you notice in the Catholic Church they do is called exorcisms, proving that they know that extraterrestrials have mental technology and etheric technology to put you up under mind control. And they've been doing this for thousands of years. And they know it. That's why they do exorcisms, and they take it so serious in the Catholic Church, because they know that extraterrestrials can put you up under spells and mind control. They call them demonic entities. They called them demons back then because they didn't want you to know. And they talked about the evil one as the devil, because they just didn't want you to know that they really, you know, it's really just extraterrestrials. But even the popes and all of them have had communication. You can't even become a pope and sit in that seat unless you went through certain rituals and have met with certain extraterrestrials, and all of them have been possessed. A lot of them are possessed by extraterrestrials. I'm just keeping it real with you. So I'm saying all that to say that now the only thing that's happening with them is that they're losing power. This reptilian group is losing power, so now they put more pressure on the Pope. And they're like, you're going to have to reveal this. You're going to have to reveal the Black Vatican to them. Now, you're going to have to reveal the whole thing, because they're starting to like break free from this. You got these truthers out here, people like myself and other people that, you know, I was talking about extraterrestrials back in 2012, and, you know, like it was kind of popular, but people kind of were saying that I was a little off, and probably still think I'm a little bit off. But it's getting more acceptable now in 2015, if you notice, than what it was back then. You got even regular people talking about extraterrestrials, like church folks and stuff talking about it now. This video that I'm quoting comes from, remember, Christians talking about this thing. They might call it the devil or whatever still too, because they got their religious program mixed in with it. They at least saying that they are extraterrestrials. Whether you say they come from hell or whatever, okay, fine, they come from hell. I mean, I know what hell is, so, and where it is too. But and I know where heaven is and where that is. But the bottom line is that they are extraterrestrials, and they're not from this world. And they're putting pressure on the Pope, and the Pope's putting pressure on his puppets. You know, these politicians, a lot of them are up under the popes in the church. And they're putting pressure on them. They're like, you're going to reveal this thing, because we're losing the people. You know, like religion and the spell of religion is wearing off. People starting to wake up out that comatose state now. Because it was only supposed to last for 6,000 years. This was prophesied to happen. The spell was only going to last for 6,000 years. It was a 6,000 year spell. Religion been around for about 6,000 years. All forms of it have been around, for whether you're talking about the Sumerian aspect of religion, all the way down to the modern day Christianity, ain't been around up to 6,000 years. And it's wearing off. And there's another group that you call the Illuminati, that you got a lot of people that get on these videos and it upsets me, and they make these videos about the Illuminati. And I kind of touched on this, and I told you that there was 2 Illuminatis, maybe even 3. And I talked about this in articles and stuff like that before. There's actually more than that, but it's really not worth talking about all of them, because you really only need to know about 2 of them right now. And I'm going to cover it again here. But what I'm saying is that you bash the Illuminati, but the Illuminati was really the ones that broke the spell and woke you up to the secrets that the Vatican had, and that the Pope's been hiding, the secrets that the church had. You see, and then now the Illuminati, that's another extraterrestrial group that came here to offer humans a choice, to offer you love and offer you knowledge so that you can be able to make a choice as to what you're going to do. See, those extraterrestrials that are controlled by the Pope and that controls the Pope, and others, these dark reptilian demonic entities, they don't care about they don't really care about humanity like that. They believe in sacrifice. It's in the Bible. They believe in eating their young. That's in the Bible. You can look all this stuff up. They believe in the shedding of blood. Adam, which is blood, Adamu. And then Adam had a son named Cain, another son named Abel, and then Cain killed his brother Abel, shedding blood. That's showing you the gene that's in them. Why is he going around murdering his brother? Why was that even in him? How did he even know to do that? They say it was the devil. I say it was the reptilian blood that's in him, the aggressive gene that's in him, that caused him to do that. That drove him to that emotion to even want to do that. So these are the entities, and they made these things here. The reptilians did. And the reptilians enslaved the Greys. See, they started off telling you about the Greys, and everybody was fascinated with them for a minute. The Greys are nothing but slaves of the reptilians. That's all a part of the reptilian agenda, which is all a part of the church agenda. They've been knowing about this stuff. They've been knowing. That's all a dinosaur means, a terrible lizard. Dinos means horrible. Saurus means lizard. Dinosaurs, terrible lizard. Reptilians are lizards. They're shapeshifters. There's a book. A movie that you can get called Enemy Mine. And it's a movie that was made in the 80s, and it talks about the reptilians and their lifestyle, how they live. All of them aren't aggressive. There's 7 different species of reptilian, but most of them are. And they believe in human sacrifice. This is a part of their culture. They roll in groups. That's how reptilians roll. So you got another group that you call the Illuminati, and then you guys say that this is supposed to be the bad guys, but that's just the reptilians that control the church people and that use the preachers in the church to demonize the Illuminati and make them look bad and make them, and I know people going to be like, man, I can't believe you saying this, man, because you're trying to say the Illuminati is okay, and I've been watching all these documentaries, and I even probably heard you say the Illuminati was full of shit. I'm not saying that, they all got agendas. I'm going to tell you about their agenda in a second, because they got one too. But I'm just saying that you got to understand the two groups. And the Vatican really is against the Illuminati. That's really the point I'm making. And it's the reptilians that control these different preachers and things of that nature that are making them put out this information and getting on different social media sites and making these documentaries. That's the church behind all of that. About the Illuminati this, Illuminati that, rappers being controlled by the Illuminati, X, Y, and Z, and Hollywood being controlled by the Illuminati, X, Y, and Z, and things of that nature. That's all a part of the programming. You see, they're not going to tell you that they're playing both sides for one thing, but it's even deeper than that. One side, the reptilians have a problem with the Andromedans and the Pleiadians. That's the real Illuminati. The Andromedans and the Pleiadians. Now, as you guys know, I don't necessarily agree with the Andromedans. Actually, I'm having it out with some of the Andromedans right now. I don't necessarily agree with their agendas, but one thing I will say, or the Pleiadians, I don't necessarily agree with them, but one thing I'll say, this Orion group, which is who the Pope and them are pay homage to, they're horrible. I mean, they'll straight kill you. Whereas you got the Andromedans and Pleiadians, they'll put microchips in you. There's a movie you can get that I just watched called Control Factor. And then this movie called Control Factor was made in 2005. It's about this guy that gets implanted with this technology in his head or whatever, and they speaking and putting voices in his head and causing and messing with his free will so he will go out and kill and murder. But they won't really come in and murder you. That's the Andromedans behind all of that agenda. That's the Pleiades behind. That's the Illuminati. They still deal with control, just like the reptilians do, but it's a different form of control. So neither side is really for you. However, one side is more, it's more of an experiment to them to see if, like what the Andromedans do and the Pleiadians do, is more of an experiment to see if humans really desire to break free from the reptilians. Can we break free from, if you had a voice in your head telling you to kill somebody, would you eventually listen? Do you have enough willpower to overcome these things? If you watch the movie Control Factor, you'll see what I'm talking about, because it actually goes into all of that. Like, at the end of the day, the whole thing was an experiment. He didn't have to kill his wife or anything like that. It was just to see if he had the willpower, the discipline to break free from the programming and the control. So that's what they deal with. They deal with more. They're more like on a scientific level, whereas the reptilians in them, they really, blood has to be spilled to be in that circle. Blood sacrifice has to be made. And that's what a lot of these politicians and all of that, they're involved in that. They try to act like they're not what they are. Because you're either with one group or the other. There is no in between. There are no free thinkers out there the way you think they are. You know, one side or the other, and there is no God that's going to come back and save you from this. That's the thing you got to remember. It's about your ability to use your free will and to find the deity within and to tap into your own El, which means source, and your own, the source of yourself, to break free. Nobody's going to come back and save you. You may have assistance, but any assistance that comes in and aids you is essentially based upon your ability to attract that. Because you are an entity that creates your own total reality mentally, and they know this, so anything that comes to help you or hurt you, you attracted that. So nobody's going to save us from this thing. We have to make good choices, and they want a war to break out. It's supposed to lead to World War III. Because they have to come in. They're going to come into the truther movement, turn the truthers against each other. They're already doing it. They're going to come into the church. I was telling somebody this on the phone earlier. Turn the church people against each other. They're going to come into politicians and the Democrats. They're going to come into the Democratic Party, turn the Democrats against each other. They're going to come into the Republican Party, turn the Republicans against each other. And eventually, they want us to just all kill each other so they can take over the planet. Take back the surface. And then they putting out movies like Jurassic Park and stuff like that, or Jurassic World, because they're going to unleash the beast on us eventually to wipe out the rest of us that think we're going to survive. They're going to unleash these robotic dinosaurs that they already have made, and they got them ready right now. See, the dinosaurs weren't what you think they are. They were genetically modified to be that way. They're more like robots. They were a form of a technology, basically, is what I'm saying. They're not going to tell you this. Created by the reptilians. And they looked like reptilians, but they were bigger, and they sent them out, because the reptilians a lot of times stayed in the water. They didn't too much come out the water. So once the surface, the water started to subside, they have to send out artificial intelligence, which is what these dinosaurs were, to be able to see the surface through the eyes of a dinosaur and to wipe out any civilization that was left on the surface after the flood happened. Because in the Bible, if you notice, it starts out up underwater. The earth starts out up underwater. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and waters covered the earth. I've talked about this before. And then eventually, these waters were pushed back. This took time. And this was all a part of an experiment. And they done this because they knew that it was civilization on this planet before. Mostly female civilization on this planet before, and the reptilians are patriarchal species, and most religious people or religious entities are patriarchal. You notice the Pope had to canonize or make these two women into basically like to go down to history in the Bible. I forgot what word they used or whatever, but the Pope essentially made these women to go down in history and to canonize them himself, because this is patriarchal. Like, why did a man have to do it? How come the Pope isn't a woman? These are just questions that I'm throwing out there, and I'm not playing battle of sexes, male against female, or any of that. I'm trying to explain to you that your whole culture and everything that you believe in comes from extraterrestrials. And the reason why you believe in patriarchy is because extraterrestrials taught you to believe in that. The reason why feminism, or the reason why, when I talked about the return of the ancient ones and the return of the feminine energy and all of that type of information, that is inspired more so from the Andromedan Pleiadian perspective. And the reason why that information is taught and relevant is because this is the natural order of this planet before religion, the spell was cast. So these Pleiadians and Andromedans are coming from on high, because there's another group called the Watchers, or the Immortals, that send these Pleiadians and Andromedans to make decisions and put you into these games. Because this is all a game. This is all a computerized game. That's all it is. And I think it was Alex Jones got a video about that right now on his channel. You should check it out, where he's talking about how basically this whole alien agenda is nothing but a computerized game, man. That's all it is. And to the aliens, whoever wins stays alive. Yeah, you've been abducted into a gaming network by aliens, and this is your reality. But the natural order of this thing is feminine, so you're going to be made to choose. You're going to see a lot of politics next year, but this year is all about full disclosure. And the politicians that go ahead and embrace the agendas that the aliens and extraterrestrials want, they're going to win. The dominant extraterrestrial group that chooses the dominant politician is going to win. So the future of humanity is predicated upon and based upon whether or not we give over our free will to extraterrestrials, or will we try to remain sovereign? Are we going to give back our will over to reptilians and the hierarchy and these hybrids, these politicians that look like they're humans but they're really reptilians? Because that's another thing you got to remember. When they say full disclosure and eventually they're going to reveal the aliens to the world, you waiting on some green monster or something that looks like this, maybe a little bit smaller or something. But at the end of the day, you are going to face somebody that looks like a human. They're really going to be an alien. They really aren't going to be from here because they found a way to make themselves look acceptable. I'm looking down. I'm trying to find a picture of some reptilians. I probably won't be able to find it on this video, but eventually I'll show you. But yeah, you are going to basically be made to worship humans that look like you, but they really extraterrestrials. Or humanoid-looking creatures that look like you, but they're really extraterrestrials. And you're going to be made to do this. So humans have a choice. You got like a big decision to make on like what we're going to do, like as far as giving our power over to extraterrestrials. Or are we going to break free and remain sovereign? I mean, and they talk about, just like they were talking about in this video, they talk about socialism, and they talk about how these reptilians want us to go back into more of a socialistic type of economy, because they feel like that's better. But the thing about socialism is, like they were saying on the video, what's going to happen when the other person's resources runs out, the person that you're extorting, when their resources runs out. See, socialism is nothing but their way of taking back land from the indigenous. And if you notice, most of the indigenous cultures worship some form of a female entity. See, they're at war with Mother Earth. Her name was Tiamat. This is the feminine principle. And that's what they're at war with, and they have to overcome and conquer the indigenous tribes. So the Apache didn't want and still have a problem with the church. I'm not going to be able to find this picture, but the Apache still have a problem with the Catholic Church going up on Mount Graham and trying to do these experiments. They still have a problem with it. They're the indigenous, but you know, the Catholic Church got all this money, resources, and manipulation plots. They send their little Vatican spies and stuff into, yeah, I'll actually show you guys some of these pictures in a second. These aren't reptilians, but it's going to kind of give you an idea of how we came about. But so they send their spies and, you know, their little Vatican whores and prostitutes into the Native American communities and get them to fight each other and get them drunk off these drugs and all of this. And, you know, they put their little demonic spells on these different tribes, and that's how they take over. That's how they do that. So you got some decisions to make. Here's a picture here of, these are just basic pictures that you can put up online, but this kind of just shows us, say we was going to get black tonight, so show you some pictures. This kind of shows us our evolution. Females come from the snake species, Males were part of the toad experiments. These are the amphibians. These are called amphibians. And these are some of the reptilians, or these are some of the breeds that reptilians use to conquer us, or to create us, I should say. And different beings that were part of the experiment. Some of them were humanoid looking. When I talk about reptilians, you got to remember reptilians, you're a reptilian, because reptilians they shed their skin, they need to keep their skin oiled, they need to get in water periodically. All of these things you have to do as a human. If you don't get in the water or drink water periodically, you're dry out and die. So that's what makes you a reptilian. You are a part of this. You are an amphibian type of being. And the original dinosaurs were called Homosaurus. The original, humanoid dinosaurs, they were humanoid looking dinosaurs called Homosaurus. And Homosaurus was basically a being that lived in the water. It came out the waters at night, and when it got hot, it went back into the water and lived in the water. The Dogon talked about these beings. The Dogon tribe, you can research them. I'm not making this stuff up. There's a book called The Serious Mystery you can get by Robert Temple that talks all about the reptilian agenda and all about the Dogons and how they dealt with them and worked with them. This is all a part of the Orion group. That's in the Bible it talks about heaven. And then one of the names of heaven, I always say this over and over again, was called Uranus. But I have to say it over and over again for people that are new to this type of stuff. So one of the names of heaven was called Uranus. And Uranus means Orion. See, before it was translated into heaven, the Greek word for heaven was Uranus. That's where their ancestors came from. This is where God come from. God came from the heavens to earth in a spaceship. So that's pretty much the secret agenda that's going on right now. And it gets deep, but it's like you guys need to just really wake up to like what's really going on, man. Like, and try to keep your free will as much as possible. Like, try to take back what's yours while you still have it. Because eventually you're not even going to have that. You're not even going to have the right to even compete and have your own business the way that they're going right now with this. And I've been experiencing some stuff, even this is affecting 13th century astrology tremendously. Because they got their little agents and spies and all of that, and they put me on the side of, I guess you could say, of a truther or somebody that's making people not go to church. So the reptilians got it out for me. I told you that. Really bad. We having all type of financial problems. They try to attack us through their financial system. They're going to continue to keep doing that because at the end of the day, they want this information gone. They want to defund us, and they want us. They don't want the scientific type of spirituality movement to prosper because this breaks people from religion. So they talk about stuff like Scientology and it's evil and it's of the devil and X, Y, and Z and Aleister Crowley created Scientology. But yeah, I might not agree 100% with Scientology on everything that they say, but the bottom line is that they got people thinking. They're scared of stuff. They're scared of movements like this. The astrology movement, even with just a couple thousand people, to them is a threat. So I'm public enemy number one to get attacked. So I'm in the process of restructuring, as you guys can see, and I've been talking about how I do things. And a lot of it is going to come with the type of information that I'm putting out. People have been telling me, you need to say it was real. Like, all that new agey and all that stuff, like, come with the real deal. I'm coming with the real deal now. Can you deal with it? Are you ready for this type of information? Or do you still just want to stay in dream world and spirituality world where you beat up on other conscious people, and if you don't got dreads, then you ain't conscious. Craziness, man. Or if you don't got certain tattoos somewhere, you ain't conscious. Or you're caught up on the exterior appearances. Are you really ready to deal with the real life truth? Because it's coming. Like, this is the type of information that I'm finna start putting out. Because it's needed. And these are the type of people that are attacking me. This is the type of information that they deal with. This is all they believe in. They know everything I'm saying. Even the videos I put out before, they take that shit serious. I got videos on this channel about all kind of stuff. Like, I mean, when we talk about full disclosure back in 2012, this is nothing new. Just that back then people wasn't ready for it. So yeah, I know I said a lot, but I had to put this information out because it's time, man. I mean, by the end of this year, you're gonna basically know the extraterrestrials are real. And if you ask the average person right now, they believe it anyway. A lot of what I'm saying is nothing new. This is just conversation. Like attracts like, you know. So this is just me building with, building with the people that believe the same way I believe. Really, at the end of the day, because most people believe in this stuff that's up under a certain age anyway. Fully believe in it, and then a lot of people that say they don't believe in it really do, but they just the ones in these secret societies hiding the truth because they up under oath and they can't talk about these things. There's other things that they can't reveal. They can't talk. They can't go black. See what I'm saying? Because once you go black, you can't go back. I'm talking about. I'm talking about black, like black people. I'm talking about information. See, these are the black records. There's a lot of stuff I could go into here, but I won't. A lot more because I mean I took a lot of time, but I mean I just like conversating and building with you all, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you got something from this, and like I said, I'm going to try to get that video up on my channel. And until we meet again, I'll leave you all in Namaste.